Podtacular, the unofficial Halo Universe podcast, presents episode 720, Rebirth, recorded live on February 13th, 2020. Hello everyone, welcome to Podtacular, the unofficial Halo Universe podcast. I am your host, Duststorm.
And I am your co-host, Godzilla T.
And we have quite the loaded podcast for you tonight. We have some guests on. We've got some pretty interesting community topics that have popped up over the past week. And a couple of announcements we're going to be making on the show tonight. But to introduce our guests, we're going to go ahead and introduce the folks from Project Rebirth, starting with Sierra. Welcome to the show.
Hi, how you doing?
Doing well. Thanks for being on.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Next we have is Rythaze.
Hello, Podtacular. What's up, everybody? Nice.
Hello. I like the enthusiasm. That'll come in very handy for the episode tonight.
Yeah, I got a lot of energy.
And then finally we got RatDadJoe.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome onto the show.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
It's very exciting.
Yeah, we're excited to have you guys on. Y'all are definitely one of the more recent projects that I've at least heard of. So it's interesting to have you on, especially since we've typically had the fan mods or fan projects as far as like fan games on, but we haven't really had a project on that's quite like yours. And we'll get into that in a little bit. But as we normally do for our podcasts, we start off with what's happened in the realm of the Podtacular community. Starting off with Fraggin' Friday from last week. So GT, I was not able to make it because it was date night with the wife because we moved it. So how was Fraggin' Friday last week?
Excuses.
Hey, I gotta take advantage of them when they're valid, right?
Yeah. Where there's no proof there, so we'll just have to take his word on it. We had a lot of fun. We played Reach, and we played a lot of customs. I've learned that I need to get some more customs.
Well, we've been asking people for customs.
Well, I actually went to download a custom from one I found on YouTube, but when I went to the person's file share, they didn't have it on their custom anymore, or on their file share.
That sucks.
Okay. And this video was only a couple of days old. So I'm like, if you're going to put the video out, put it on your file share.
Yeah, comment on that video and be like, hey, dude, where's your freaking files?
Anyway, but I tried to find the original, the person that originally had it, but I couldn't find a good link to any file shares that were still active. So I will keep looking for the game type because it looked like it'd be a really fun one. So I will eventually find it, but I am on the look for some new ones. It really sucks that I have to sit in front of my Xbox to be able to download freaking custom game maps and types 343.
No, really?
It'd be a lot nicer if I could just, like when I see a YouTube video on one, I could just click on a link and queue it up for download next time I turn on my Xbox.
Hopefully we can with Infinite.
Oh, yeah, we'll be able to do it with Infinite. I mean, we can do it with Halo 5 now. Well, we can bookmark it. I imagine they probably will. They will probably use the same system in Infinite as they used in Halo 5, where you don't download them, you bookmark them.
Yeah, the whole cloud thing, and yeah, we'll see. We can hope that it will change, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I hope for that to change where you can store them locally, and then if you want to share them, you upload them to a file share.
I did post that as an idea on my Halo
I know, and I appreciate you giving me credit for it. And I also would like to get the old school theater back too.
Oh, hell yeah.
Where it's stored stores the files locally, and it doesn't require it actually remembers what the hell you were doing when you die. The Halo 5 theater system, it is so broken. It amazes me that anybody actually uses it.
This is true.
Yeah, it's a pain to work with the theater system in Halo 5.
I know a lot of the montagers have a very difficult time with that kind of thing, and they're always complaining about it. So that's definitely something I'd like to see fixed. Sorry for chiming in.
No, you're more than
totally true.
To.
I went back I just went back to record or save a game clip from, a couple of weeks ago when, the game aired out and I played a game solo while everybody else in the lobby was finishing up the game that I just got kicked out of because the game crashed. And I went on a sniping spree, and it was a total pain to get that recorded or just to get that clip saved.
That's why I'll use the Xbox DVR more than actually going in and doing the...
Well, that's just it. The clip was longer than I've got the DVR set for.
Yeah.
Oh.
I've got my clip length set to a minute, but this was like 2.5 minutes worth of gameplay. So I couldn't just do, the Xbox record that and get all of it.
That's why, another reason why I have an external drive is so I can go in and, because I think it does up to 5-minute max.
Yeah, but I don't have my Xbox record that set to 5 minutes. I've only got it set to record a minute. The instant record,
right?
The flashback record.
Yeah, if you hit that and then hit record it, and then you can manually choose it if you have the hard drive piece.
Yeah, I can do that, but I'm not going to do that in the middle of a game.
I'll do it in the middle of the game just because.
Especially when I'm streaming.
Okay, so yeah, that's a good point.
If it's just me by myself, yeah, I probably would do that. But while I'm streaming, the people are there to watch the stream, not watch me record stuff.
Fair point.
Anyway, rant over.
All right.
All in all, I had a lot of fun.
Good. So if there's any customs that you guys want to be playing, make sure you send them over to us, either over social media or in our Discord, because the only way that we're going to be able
to play
those...
gamer tag that has it on their file share, and I will download it.
Yes. That's
Give
the
me
only way
the gamer tag, the name of the map, and the name of the game type, if it requires a special game type, or, just name of the map, name of the game type, and where it's located. And I will get it downloaded. I need them ahead of time so I can kind of go in and evaluate them, make sure they are appropriate.
Yeah.
Not that I don't trust you people, but some of you have a weird sense of humor.
Oh boy.
Great.
But yeah, you can just message me on Twitter at Godzilla Todd, and I will get those looked at.
Very nice. For the streaming achievements Sunday that I did with Bobby, we got a couple of achievements there. So we were working on some Halo Wars 2. Managed to get the one where you kill 100 infantry with anti-infantry units, kill 100 vehicles with anti-vehicle units, recruited and constructed one of each UNSC unit type from launch, and then built 10 Grizzlies.
Sounds rigged to me.
I mean, we're farming them, so yeah, a little bit. But dwindling those down, so it's probably going to be another month or so before we get all of those done. But getting pretty close. For Machinima Monday this past week, we didn't have a specific Machinima, but one of the latest additions to the Podtacular staff, Riding Spartan, was able to put out his first article, and it was the highlights of the Golden Monitor Award winners. So he went together and put a little article that showcased all the award winners for all the different categories. So if you head on over to the Podtacular website, you will find that article over there. So that was posted on Monday in lieu of Machinima Monday. And then for the streamer shout out that we had this past week, it was Lady Echidna, and she is a streamer over on Twitch. She's been becoming more relevant, especially among the competitive crew. She actually has some previous stream clips of her getting diamonds and onyx ranks, so she's a very competitive player. I've been in her stream a few times, and Uber Nick's been in there, Vito's been in there, and quite a few of the other more prominent Halo streamers, so figured that was a good one to cover for this past week.
Mm-hmm.
And then a little update on our company commendations. For killing the opponent that shot you first, we have still a little over 1,000 to go there. The next closest one is getting vehicle splatters, and we have another 424 there. And I don't need to tell you what the last
they need
two
to
are.
they need to bring Castle Wars back.
Yeah, that'd be nice for the splatters.
Yeah.
But yeah, the last two, of course, are killing Marines and getting shoulder bashes.
Can't imagine why.
Yeah. What do we have coming up for matchmaking updates, GT?
Well, in Halo 5, again, it's double XP in doubles all month.
Mm-hmm.
For this weekend, Community Slayer rotates in for Roaming King, and Warzone Assault goes live for the weekend.
XP boosts. XP boosts.
XP boost. And then for February 20th, we get Griffball. And then on the 27th, we get Action Sack rotating in for Griffball. And Warzone Turbo goes live.
Very
get in
good.
there and get some Warzone Assault done.
Yeah.
Get that XP grind going.
That XP grind is real, man.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'll be working on vehicles all weekend, so I probably won't have much time to do that. It's going to be nice, so I've got to take advantage of the nice weather while I can.
I don't blame you there. Thankfully, we haven't had any major ice or snow here. I don't think we're going to get any, but yeah, it's been relatively nice where we are.
Well, I have to admit, for the winter, we've had a pretty mild winter, so I can't complain too much.
Okay. That's always nice. What do we got for MCC?
Let's see, on MCC, I'll get the list up in front of me here. They've got some updates to XP, the XP awarded for Freeze Tag during Winter Contingency. They're kicking off the Valentine's Day week long event, Firefight doubles playlist. If you complete 10 matches in the Firefight doubles playlist, you will get the nameplate, put a ring on it. And then if you, let's see, there was a second one, wasn't there?
If you do 10 matches either with 2v2 matchmaking or the Firefight doubles, you can get the nameplate.
Yeah. Sorry, there's only one nameplate this time.
Yes. There is another name of the nameplate down in the show notes, but it's not in this section.
Yeah. Firefight doubles game types are Score Attack, Grumpocalypse, Skirmageddon, Crash Site, and Sniper Attack. The Valentine's Day event will last from the 12th to the 18th. And then the Winter Contingency also lasts till the 18th. So make sure you get your matches in for those so you can get your nameplates.
Yep.
Let's see.
I think that was mostly the important stuff out of that one.
What about the CE flighting?
We'll get to that in a second. Getting a little.
We're
ahead
not
of the
that far
curve.
yet.
Well, I'm super excited for that, not going to lie.
Oh, yeah.
Rythaze is a...
I'm a
he's
CE
very...
fanatic.
Yeah, he loves CE. He's obsessed with it. He's been waiting for the CE flight for so
I'm
long
like an
now.
extremist, you know?
Extreme.
Well, yeah, we kind of all have. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do different with the MCC as to original CE for PC, the original Gearbox port.
And then there was a couple of things that they talked about on the social stream yesterday, too, regarding the flight. We might as well talk about it now since we're talking about it.
Oh,
Might as
sorry
well.
for kicking that off. I didn't mean to do that.
It's all right. We'll flex around as needed. So, for those that aren't aware, the Halo CEA flighting has begun. So, flight number 4, which includes a campaign for Halo CEA along with multiplayer and also some additional tests for Halo Reach, is out on Steam. For those that are part of the Halo Insider, check your registered emails to see if you got invited. I don't know how many people they are planning to have in this flight, but the emails went out this afternoon, which is Thursday afternoon if you're listening to us after the live show. And I don't know. I'll leave that up to you, GT. Should we put that as a poll option and maybe just split the lobby if need be? Or what do you think about that for Fraggin' Friday?
I think Fraggin' Friday will just keep with the current lists because we don't know how big the pool is for the CE flighting. So
okay,
because I really don't want to leave people out because they didn't get invited to it. Yeah, I know that the pool is probably bigger than it was, but yeah, I really don't want to leave people out just because of that.
Sure. Sounds good to me. So next up we have is just a reminder that DreamHack Anaheim is going to be taking place next weekend. So if you haven't gotten your passes yet, then make sure you go over and do that. It's going to be taking place at the Anaheim Convention Center February 21st through the 23rd. I'll probably at least try to catch the championship Sunday for that. There's also going to be PC tournaments for 5K FFA in addition to the 50K 4v4. On the social stream, we had Snickerdoodle joined by Postums again, and they talked a little bit about CEA and the fighting that's happening with that, along with playing a little bit of Community Slayer. Or was it Community Slayer that they were playing yesterday? I don't remember. They were playing some yesterday.
I didn't get to watch it, so I can't tell you.
I missed it.
I'm a bad Halo fan. I didn't watch the Halo stream.
He didn't watch the Halo stream. Oh my goodness.
I was busy, doing things like working.
Oh.
Like making it possible for me to purchase Halo stuff.
Well, that makes sense.
I mean that makes sense.
Yeah. I'm sure they'd much rather have my money than my support.
Yeah, that's the business. So the other thing related to DreamHack is they announced the talent that's going to be there. So we're going to have as the host the Shyway, and then as the casters Bravo, Sims, Walshy, and Clutch. So if you're in the Anaheim area, make sure you head on over to dreamhack.com/Anaheim/Halo and get your tickets. And then we actually are going to start doing the Fiction Friday for when they do include it. So GT, you want to read that one?
Fiction Friday, yes. Requiem was the first Forerunner shield world created as a fortress for the Didact. The protector of the Ecumene. I love the words that 343 creates.
I still think they need to come out with some kind of pronunciation guide for how they come up with.
Yes, they do, especially Sangheili names.
Yes. Jeff, if you're listening, get on that, please.
I cheat. I do audiobooks, so.
Yeah, but even the audiobooks aren't necessarily consistent.
They're not, but they mostly are.
Mostly.
Provided they stick with the same person doing the reading, it stays the same. It's when they change to a different person reading that it changes. The pronunciation changes.
Okay.
It was presumed destroyed following a protracted campaign against Jul Imdama's remnant Covenant forces in 2558. Ooh, I like presumed.
We know what happened, but...
Wait, are they suggesting it wasn't destroyed? Wait, what?
Do we?
What?
Was it not sucked into the sun?
We saw it go into the sun.
Going into a sun, you can't really say presumed. Like,
well, you also have to understand that Forerunner stuff is extremely resilient as well.
It became the sun.
It became the sun.
It became the sun. Requiem became the sun. That would be interesting. As far as some other articles that we have, Xbox partners with OSD, Operation Supply Drop, to improve mental health and wellness. So this is a press release that OSD put out. So now until March 31st, OSD has a campaign where if you donate to OSD, Xbox will match it up to $250,000 until March 31st.
Cool.
We've supported OSD in the past. I think it was 2016 when we tried to do our 24-hour OSD live stream where we had a bunch of different community people on. Don't think we'll have time to do it this year, especially with all the crazy stuff that I'm trying to do with the community and the podcast and everything, but it might be something that we try to do next year after Infinite launches and try to get a whole bunch of community people involved with that. But OSD is a wonderful organization. They help military veterans as far as trying to get games into their hands overseas and then also helping them back here on the home front reintegrate with civilian life. For those that are listening that are maybe international, so RatDadJoe, for example, talking about people coming back mostly to the U.S. forces. I think they do cooperate with some international armed forces as well, but I'm not sure which specifically they interact with. But I know for the most part, U.S. military, they heavily support. So, yep, we got that. You can head on over to tiltify.com/OSD/Xbox match to donate over there. And then another reminder that this weekend is the next Microsoft Retail Store Halo Tournament. It is a Reach 2v2 taking place on Sunday at 2 p.m. So you can check out your local Microsoft store and compete in some Halo Reach. And GT, this is where the other nameplate came in.
Yeah. I knew there was another nameplate.
Yep. So there is a custom name, well, not custom. There's a nameplate specifically for the Microsoft Store Halo Tournament events. If you go and participate in it, then there is what is it called? I'm trying to pull up the tweet. Where is the tweet? That's not the right tweet link. I copied the wrong tweet link. Where the heck? Oh, here it is.
I see how you are.
Never mind. I had the right tweet link. It was just in the wrong place. HCS actually tweeted this out. It is Make It a Venti. I don't know why they named it that, but it is a
interesting name.
Yeah, it has blue background with dots, and it has a dime or not diamond. There's a 4 edge star on it and stuff. You can head over to the HCS Twitter account and find it over there. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, this one defies description.
Yeah, it's hard to describe it
because we're such articulate people anyway.
Yeah. Especially when it comes to just images and talking it onto, like, for those that are on the video stream, we could just pull up a picture and there you go. For those on the download, it doesn't work out as well.
Look it up yourself. Oh.
Yeah.
Not that I'm trying to be difficult or anything.
Yeah. No, I got you. So we have some late breaking news that Kevin over on the Halo Collector Twitter has posted, and Rick Arian in the Twitch made us aware of, so thank you guys for that. Apparently there have been some Halo flip-flops found in the wild in Mexico.
Whoa. Halo Gucci slides. Damn.
I feel like there's always interesting Halo merch coming out of Mexico.
Mexico is
Halo flip-flops, huh?
Crazy with their, like, apparently, like, per capita, Mexico has the largest Halo fan base in the world.
Really?
Yes.
I'm looking at the picture.
Yeah, it's
I'm not sure I wear them.
I'm not sure what sizes those are because my US shoe size is a 15, and I doubt that 18 and 19 is actually going to be my shoe size. So I'm curious as to what sizes those are going to be because they had some Halo shoes before, and the biggest they had was 14, so they didn't fit me, and I couldn't buy a pair, which was sad.
Well, then, Eric Boo, you should be plenty safe.
Yeah, I think you'll be fine.
Eric Boo's saying his shoe size is 7. I think I could get my toe in there.
As long as your foot isn't is not a foot long or not 30 centimeters long, you're usually okay.
Yeah, I'm definitely longer. My feet are definitely longer than that.
Y'all got big feet.
What shoe size?
Hey, I'm a big boy.
Oh, you know. Oh, you know. I'm size 12 actually. My shoes, so they're not really that big, but
I think I'm on 11 and a half actually. So
if you guys want to donate me your shoes, I would be grateful.
Yeah, you wouldn't want my shoes after I'm done with them.
Oh, jeez.
All right.
I wring every bit of life out of my shoes.
Yeah. I take mine to a Nike store because they have like a shoe recycling area, so they'll take the soles of the shoes and they'll grind them down for like the rubbery playground stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they'll take the soles of shoes and use that for that, and then they'll do some other stuff with like the actual fabric and the shoelaces and that kind of stuff.
If you want to
That's
go for
good.
shoes, just ask Luke Hidden Xperia. He's got some incredible kicks going on there, man. Like maybe I shouldn't shill him too much, but he's got some great shoes. I will give him that.
he's always wearing very interesting shoes.
Oh no, he's got good shoes.
I'll have to make sure to point that out to him when I see him.
Yeah. A couple other miscellaneous things. Samsung tweeted out a picture with like Samsung and Xbox, so there's some kind of partnership happening there.
Yeah, I'm kind of interested to see what that's going to be.
Me too. I'm not really sure. I mean,
I like how they got a picture of 6 on the screen.
Yep.
Of the phone.
Yep. For the Galaxy S20. So much for the S10.
How about the S15 or the S19 or the S14?
They got the double digits, and now they're just increasing the first digit in there. So yeah, I'm curious to see
companies
what
and
that
their
means.
naming schemes.
Because obviously we have Project X Cloud, and while that's in alpha, it's definitely it's kind of like Gmail's version of alpha. Like it still might be in alpha, but people are using it and using it like an actual product.
Actually, even
or beta,
for it being a beta, it is actually, they've gotten it to where I would almost say it's safe to launch it. I haven't, I don't use it a lot because about the only place I can use it is here at my house. Because everywhere else I generally don't bring an Xbox controller with me. But yeah, every time I fire it up, it works perfect. I mean, I've got to fart with, sensitivities a little bit to compensate for just the lag, but I have fun with it.
Okay.
The biggest deal is just dealing with the extremely long load times sometimes for certain games. You start playing things on PC and then you go back and play them on Xbox and they run extremely slow.
Yeah. So for the last time I tried Project X Cloud, the input delay from controller to video and then back was just too much to really get a good game of Halo in. So I hadn't really played it since then, but that was back in I think November.
Oh yeah, I would definitely try it again. It's gotten a lot better. When it first launched, it was horrid. I just jumped in and tried to play some Super Fiesta and Halo 5, and it was terrible.
Well, that's what I did at E3, and the experience was fine, but then when I got it back here...
Well, see, the deal there is, and the advantage is, at that conference, they were on a wired connection.
Yeah.
What's going on over there?
The helicopters. They're coming for you.
Sorry, that was our local National Guard flying their Chinook 2 feet over my house.
Do you feel the vibrations?
That's the lowest I've had them fly in a long time.
Oh.
Usually they're high enough that that's not a problem. I don't get a problem with my house shaking when they fly over. Anyway, back at the convention, you were also playing on a wired connection, which makes a difference.
Actually, the phone was wireless, but it was local wireless too in the theater and then out. So yeah, mostly a wired connection.
Yeah.
But yes, I do need to try it again. Wrapping things up here, Laird actually sent this over to me earlier today because this apparently was put out and then quickly retracted. But it's a picture of Xbox Series X media briefing. So this was this was posted and then retracted. So take this with a huge grain of salt. But April 6th at 9:30 a.m. Pacific time at the Microsoft Theater. So if that's true, maybe that'll be our first big info dump of Infinite.
Could be.
Maybe. Because they did a similar media briefing for the Xbox One when it released.
Right.
So it makes sense that they're doing this again.
Yeah, I would see that they could do that, but I could see them throwing hints in there for Infinite.
Yep. I see it coming.
Like announcing that there's going to be a Halo Infinite Xbox Series X or Halo Infinite X.
Yes, please. I'm going to save up my money for that. Yes, please.
Microsoft, work on your naming conventions, please.
Too much Xbox and Series and X's and O's and yeah.
I get it. It's an Xbox, but really?
No, they're going to have a Series Y. They're going to have a Series Z. They're going to have a Series Millennium. They're going to have a Series Boomer. They're going to have
Boomer.
I think we done gone past the Boomer.
Zoomer Series. There you go, Yarkiboo. Zoomer Series.
The Zoomer Series.
Blaze Dillon leaves 343. So Blaze Dillon was one of the folks on kind of the community content side. So he really helped curate a lot of the maps and things that went into community style matchmaking stuff. So he is now parting ways with 343. He was on the multiplayer sustain team. And yeah, kind of sucks that he's leaving. He's done a lot for really highlighting some community content when it comes to maps and getting those into matchmaking. But it's been good having you there. Thank you for everything that you did.
Most definitely.
I don't know if you ever listened to this, but in case you do, thanks for what you did for the Halo community and really making matchmaking a place where we could come back to week after week, get a fresh set of content, and just keep playing Halo 5.
Most definitely.
We've got, I think that was the last thing here. Yep, it was. Okay. So heading on over to some community highlights. HCS Pro Talk has released their 113th episode, which was their first live show that was done on YouTube, or sorry, not YouTube, Twitch, and they have the VOD up on YouTube. So if you actually want to go see the HCS Pro Talk Studios, then go check it out over there. Podcast Evolved also had episode 201, which they discuss the Halo array. So a little bit of lore stuff there. Yeah. And then, according to CIA, I think he put out a tweet saying that there's going to be another little kind of article or update about Halopedia coming out here pretty soon. So we'll stay tuned to that.
Oh, cool.
And we also got some birthdays this past week.
Well, so far, this month, Grim Brother 1 had his birthday on the 9th. Green Skulls was on the 12th. And Matty Rums was on the 13th. So happy birthday.
Wait, hold up. Sierra's birthday's coming up on the 17th.
Oh.
Sorry, we're not to that point yet, so I can't say anything.
Don't worry, it's coming up though. Don't worry. Next time. Sorry, guys.
Well,
you have to wait until after your birthday before I'll acknowledge it. I mean,
you will.
Well, that's just a shame.
Whether you like it or not. I'm just kidding.
I wish everybody happy birthday for the February, the month of February. There are several of them in my own circle that are this month, including my wife's.
Very nice.
Which is a blessing and a curse because it's tomorrow.
Well, at least it's on Valentine's Day.
I think that's why it's a blessing and a curse.
You'd think that would be a good thing, right?
Well, yeah.
So
think about that for a minute.
You either get someone that's like, you're fine with just not as many things, or you want more things. Flowers, chocolates, gifts, quality time.
Yeah, this just means that I get to do extra special tomorrow. which costs extra money.
I did give you the option to not do Fraggin' Friday tomorrow because of Valentine's Day.
I know. And I thank you. And if
that out
anybody would like to step in and host it tomorrow, my wife would appreciate it.
Who else can stream? Because I don't know if I'll be available at 8:30. I can be available later, so we might have to figure that out. Stay.
We may just postpone this one and let everybody spend their Valentines with their significant others.
Yeah,
like they probably should be anyway.
Yeah,
and then we'll just catch up next week. This way we can all the people that actually get invited to the flight can get some stuff in there.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Have my cat stream, huh, Angie? Yeah.
Because that'll work well.
He does a pretty good job of working the keyboard. When I'm not around, at least.
Do you ever, have it accidentally unlocked and then you come back and there's just random characters on, whatever you have open or something?
Generally, I'm not away from my computer that long.
Okay.
If I'm away from the computer that long, I usually shut it off.
Gotcha.
Because I don't want my cat looking at kitty porn.
Ha 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 ha.
That's good. I like it. Good.
Anyway,
let's head on over to Community Musings.
Looks like Halopedia put out their Trivia Tuesday. Did you know that during the Halo Reach development, numerous animals were planned for the game? One such animal was a porcupine, but tragically, an error in its AI saw it cut from the game. I gotta know what that error was.
I don't know what the error was. They didn't mention it.
Did it run under the trucks and pop the tires or what?
That'd be an interesting mechanic if they actually tried to do something like that. You run it over with one of the trucks and your truck just goes.
George falls off the back. Also, for Lore Thursday, Arcadia is the 4th planet in the Pyron system?
Procyon.
Procyon? Procrayon? Oh.
That works.
Sorry, it's not spelled like that, but hey. On February 9th, 2531, Arcadia was attacked by the Covenant, leading to the kidnapping of Professor Ellen Anderson by the then Arbor Ripra Morami.
Professor Anders, not Anderson.
Anders, yes.
This is the
sorry.
Matrix. Which exciting news about Matrix 4, but this is a Halo podcast.
Yeah, I'm not exactly excited about that. 2 was too many.
To each his own.
And also, let's see, who is SWAT Nation announcing the Don't SWAT Cupid 4v4 Halo 5 SWAT tournament.
Well, it's not announcing, it's just a reminder.
Or, well, then don't put announcing.
I forgot to take it out of the show notes.
Now he takes it out. Okay, don't forget Halo SWAT Nation's Don't SWAT Cupid, a Halo 4v4 Halo 5 SWAT tournament, $500 $500 prize, right?
Prize pool, yep.
Okay, because you didn't put that in there. Registration closes tomorrow, February 14th, at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tournament will take place February 16th at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yep. And for those that are in the chat asking, this is not MLG, this is SWAT Nation. So it's
yes,
the competitive Halo community that's centered around SWAT. And I will drop the link in the chat for those that are interested.
And if you would like to check it out, go over to swatnation.net, and the sign up is under their events page.
Mm-hmm. And something else, which I'm not sure how we'll track this or not, but Podcast Evolved has a little series that they're doing on Twitter now. It's called #KnowYourHalo. So this is actually kind of based off some of the game show stuff that we were doing for Halo Outpost Discovery. So they're kind of taking some of the Jeopardy style questions that we had, and they're basically turning them into questions that they're asking on Twitter. So they've had a few that they've posted out already. And their first one was, is that their first one? No, here's our first one. Okay, so their first one is, this ship failed to recover the log buoy dropped by the Spirit of Fire at Arcadia in 2531, resulting in the UNSC declaring it lost with all hands years later. Options were the Pillar of Autumn, the Belfast, the Roman Blue, or the Heart of Midlothian.
Joe wants to say it. I can feel it.
I know what it is. So
you guys want to take a guess?
I won't blurt it out.
So
the reason I know is because I just finished that particular book.
Ah, very nice. I
won't even tell you which book it was.
I don't know how to read.
I do audiobooks, so I don't have to.
There you go. Sierra, what's your guess?
I do have it, but I at the same time I'm just.
Wait, what were the options again?
Yeah,
Pillar of Autumn,
could you give the options
Belfast,
again?
The Roman Blue, and the Heart of the Midlothian.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I do remember.
Joe, just say it. Say it, Joe. No, okay, don't say it. Don't say it.
I remember as well now. It took me a minute.
What is it, Joe?
Yeah, it's the Roman Blue.
That's the correct answer. The Roman Blue.
Roman Blue? Okay.
So what book is that in, GT? Because I hadn't heard that before.
It's in Renegades.
Oh, okay.
One of those books you haven't read yet.
Yeah, one of them I'm getting to.
Actually, it was in one of the short stories in Tales
from Slipspace.
Tales from Slipspace, yeah, where they introduce Sergeant Forge's daughter.
Yeah, Ryzon Forge.
Ryan
Forge.
That is the ship that is glassed at the very end of that story.
Okay.
Is the Roman Blue.
Cool. And then the latest one they have, just for kicks and grins or whatever. This ship was the first assignment for Miranda Keyes following her graduating Luna OCS in 2550. Options are In Amber Clad, Forward Unto Dawn, Hilbert, and Pillar of Autumn. So if you want to go and vote, all the votes are basically up for 24 hours. So head on over to Podcast Evolved on Twitter and cast your vote. They do post the answers the day after on their next Know Your Halo posts. So go on over and check it out.
Follow the hashtag.
Hashtag Know Your Halo. We'll talk about escalation. We've got a couple of community videos to highlight for this week. Hidden Xperia has a video titled There's a Problem with MCC's Battle Pass Unlock System. Basically kind of talking about what are you going to do with the next season, especially when it's supposed to be Halo CEA related. I don't think it's anything new for people that are following MCC that closely, but that's his latest video.
Well, it's something that he discusses, something that I was kind of wondering how they're going to handle. Because CEA, Halo 2, Halo 3, Halo 4, as they stand now, didn't really have a lot of customization. Halo CE, basically, you had color. That was it.
Right.
So it's going to be interesting to see how they pull off the Battle Pass with CE especially.
Yeah, certainly. Halo Cannon has a video out. He has a January monthly recap. He didn't really do many videos. He only had one, I think, for the whole month of January, but he covers some other official Waypoint articles that came out regarding MCC and insider updates, also talking about some other community things going on. So it's a nice little wrap up of what happened in the month. Installation 00 has been busy, really busy. He has 5 videos out this week. First one is a thought on the Spartan clones. There's 2 videos in here regarding some weapons, so the M7 SMG and the M6C Magnum. There's also a video where he talks about events between Halo 5 and Infinite, some that we know of, and I think there's a little bit of speculation in there as well. Haven't watched it yet because this was 5 videos to watch. And then UNSC fire bases, a little bit of lore and history behind those from Halo Wars.
Mm-hmm.
iSpiteful has another video out. This time it's another Reach custom. Remember Battleship Blockade at all, GT?
Mm-hmm. I remember playing it.
Yeah. So he has a...
Matter of fact, that's one of them I need to log on to and bookmark.
I'm hoping he has the links in his videos. He's normally pretty good about that.
Well, no, he can't link in the video.
Oh, that's right. Well, maybe at least how to download it or what file share he got off of or something.
iSpiteful does a pretty good job of things that he features. He puts it on his file share for a certain amount of time. I'm sure he rotates through as his file share fills up. He deletes the older ones and then rotates through them that way.
Sure.
I will have to turn my Xbox on and get that one downloaded.
That just gave me another Halo Infinite idea for me to write up. An idea for one.
If they would just act on the last one, it would work.
What do you mean?
Do we really need to go into that discussion again?
Well, the last
file share idea.
Oh, sorry. Okay. I thought you were talking about like the one I posted today regarding screenshots.
No. Although that was a pretty good one too.
I thought so. I mean, most of my ideas I hope are pretty good. Most of them have gotten a good reception. Not all of them, but most of them have. And then there's one more video that we have. Actually, a couple more. We have Ultimate Halo, 7 biggest Halo Infinite leaks and rumors. And I mean, they're obviously not huge leaks or rumors, but it's things that we've heard of, like the supposed budget being $50 million for the game and some other things regarding Infinite. So it's just kind of a, what have we heard of now? And it's kind of just a grasp of, this is all the info we have, and what more do we have out there? And then last one is from General Kid. And this is just a little video highlighting the mongoose that was in the Halo 2 beta. Heading on over to projects, we've got a couple updates there. For Downfall and ODST story, someone actually went over to their subreddit and asked a couple of questions. So currently there is sprint planned for the game. As far as ADS and smart scoping, current plan is for smart scoping to a degree. ADS is still in discussion. There's not a way that you'll be able to give squad commands to other ODSTs within the game. Regarding ODST weaknesses or being able to jump only a certain height or getting fall damage, they respond with, you'll know what it's like to be an ODST. I guess kind of leave that up to the imagination. Currently, there's only crouch plan, not going prone, and nothing about the game being an open style or open world style game at this time.
Yeah. Yeah, the whole going prone thing, that would really make it not feel like a Halo game.
Yeah, I think that's
even more so than Sprint, in my mind.
At least from a game perspective.
Yeah.
I think like in the narrative and in some of the animation and story and cinematics, going prone is fine. But as far as like the action that you expect within a Halo game, probably not the best.
Well, I mean, you know, in video, they've had them. I mean, in Halo 2, the opening scene for, you know, when Chief's coming into the New Mombasa.
Yep. You got the Marines scouting out.
Halo 3, the very first level when they're landing in the base.
Mm-hmm. So it's there.
I mean, for a gameplay mechanic, yeah, that would take away from the Halo feel.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not gonna lie, I'd kind of like to see something like a Battlefield styled Halo game, and you know, you can include it like a spin-off. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. Yeah, that would be where I'd say, yeah, sure, put in the prone, do what you want. Just go crazy.
I mean, I think that's where game or mods like Operation Trebuchet really shine, is because you have that very militaristic style gameplay that's already in an established game for Arma 2. And then you're just applying kind of the Halo flavor to it, and it works really well for them, at least.
Yeah, I think it could work well in general. But
yeah,
as for a mainline title, I would.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. For Precursor's Legacy, unfortunately, that project is shutting down. So this is a little update from WhatZen over on their Discord server. He says, "Woo boy, it's been a while since anything was said here, so let's make a big announcement to get us started. Precursor's Legacy, the Halo fan game, has been canceled due to differing ideas within the team. However, that does not mean you're out of luck. They have uploaded the latest build of the game to their website, and all you need to do is download it and run it. Keep in mind, it's just an alpha release, so don't expect it to look good or be stable. But it's there. You can head on over to studioexe.org to grab the build if you are so inclined. That's our second project that's kicked the can.
Yeah.
Contact Harvest.
Well, some people, and this is nothing against the people themselves, but life gets in the way. People have differing visions for things, and it changes.
Mm-hmm. It does.
But here lately, things have been getting in my way when it comes to life, and it's got me on a constant reevaluation on what I need to do. So I completely understand it.
Yeah, things happen, and especially when if you're not agreeing on something, then it's not worth trying to, or if it's like it's gone on long enough to where it's not worth trying to fix it, then the last thing you're left with is just wrapping it up and parting ways.
Yep.
Yes, we have heard of something called Project Rebirth, and we're getting to it. The Twitch chat's like,
what's this Rebirth thing? I haven't heard about this before.
I'm seeing them do it, and I'm just like, oh man, just calm down. It's all right. We'll get to it. We'll get to it.
We're getting there. We're almost there. I think
it's time for a break, Dust.
Almost. I got one more thing, and then we'll hit the break. There is a untitled Halo fan project, and this has kind of made the Twitter rounds and social media rounds. This is done by Glitch5970. There's a YouTube video and a little Twitter video that he released, but for not really hearing about this and this being the first time seeing it, it's a lot of really good work for this. I'll put a link in the chat for those who want to check it out, and for our podcast guests as well if they want to check it out during the break. But there's animations, there's weapon sway, there's shield animations, headshot tests, being able to jump and crouch, and like there's a lot of mechanics for this untitled project that's already well fleshed out in Unreal Engine 4.
Mm-hmm. And it looks really good too.
It does. It looks fantastic, and I'm like, I got two questions. It was like, one, how long has he been working this in secret, and has he been the only one doing it? And two, another Unreal Engine 4 game for Halo? Really? Like, how many freaking Unreal Engine 4 fan games do we have now?
Well, I think it's more of just accessibility with it.
I mean, that's fine, but like, if it's the same style as like first-person shooter and stuff, like...
Well, no, I mean, probably the reason for using Unreal Engine 4 is just the availability of the engine.
Oh, yeah, I know that for sure. I'm just more like, okay, you have all these separate projects that are using Unreal Engine 4. Like...
How each one of them utilizes the engine could make the gameplay very different, though.
True.
Or the game feel different.
True. I don't know, I just scratched my head and it's like, there's so many freaking projects. Why are there so many freaking projects?
Well, people are they're not seeing what they want out of the projects that are there.
Which, I mean, that's a valid argument if that is the case, but I don't know. I scratch my head sometimes. I was like, why? We'll move on from there.
I mean, I'm really kind of holding my own opinion on these projects until I get my hands on them physically and see how each development team is going about developing the game.
Sure.
It's one thing to look at it. It's another thing to actually play it and feel, how the movement mechanics and everything work.
True. It's just kind of one of those things. It's like, I guess if it's different enough, the mechanics are done differently, then I guess it makes sense. But, and like maybe the idea is different, like campaign versus story, but it's like, okay, maybe just combine the assets and projects together and have different teams work on a campaign or a multiplayer, or like if it's two different multiplayers, have a multiplayer that's this style and a multiplayer that's this style. I don't know.
Yeah, like I said, people want to build something because they don't see what they want in the product that's out there. Or they're just using Halo as kind of a springboard and getting their feet wet in game design. Maybe these people have aspirations to go further into the game design field than just, being a side project.
Yeah.
And Halo is something popular, and it's something that can get a lot of traction and a lot of notice.
And there's a lot of resources out there to start making that a reality for a lot of people.
Yeah.
All right. Shall we move on to the reason we have our guests on?
I think we should.
Yeah. So there is one thing we do for all of our guests before we start getting into the project specifically. One of the questions normally is, what do you do within the Halo community? But we're going to obviously get to that in a second. But the other question we normally ask people is, how did you get involved with Halo in the first place? So Sierra, why don't we start with you? What was your first foray into Halo? Were you blinded by its majesty?
Oh yeah, I was blinded and dumbstruck. Not paralyzed though. Not paralyzed. Not paralyzed. No, I was in high school. I kind of got into Halo a little bit late. I was in about year 7 or year 8 of my high school, and a lot of my friends were talking about Halo 3, and I had no idea anything. Like I grew up on PC games, so I played Half-Life and Return to Castle Wolfenstein, all that sort of stuff. So I hadn't heard of Halo. Call that heretical if you want. So decided to get into it. My grandmother got me an original Xbox, got me Combat Evolved and Halo 2. I played through them. Then for Christmas, my parents, after seeing how obsessed I suddenly became with it, got me the Halo 3 edition of the Xbox 360, like the olive drab one with the real cool hard drive.
Yep.
Blasted through that, and I was pretty much like an addict at that point.
There you go.
And then, just kind of went on from there. Ended up getting involved with the 405th. So, as it stands, I'm currently the officer in command of the Australian Regiment down under.
Very nice.
Yeah, and so that's also where I met my fiance as well. So, yeah, Halo's kind of been a bit of a big influence on where I am today, as crazy and wacky as that sounds.
That's very cool.
Wow.
Most definitely.
Where in Australia do you live?
I live in, we just moved outside of the metropolitan, well, not so much out of the metropolitan area of Sydney, but more so towards the Central Coast, whereas I used to live on the northern beaches.
Okay.
Closer to, like Manly Beach and all that sort of stuff.
Very nice. Sounds good. I guess next obvious question is, how are the fires?
Oh, well, the good thing is that they just announced that pretty much, I think, every single bushfire in New South Wales was extinguished probably about 24 to 48 hours ago.
Oh, cool.
Because, we had a massive torrential downpour of rain and flooding that, there was probably around about maybe 20 to 40 fires left anyway, compared to the 120 that we had in December to, early January. But they're all extinguished now. Yeah, so I think it's mostly just, I think Queensland and ACT are still at risk. I'm not too sure.
Okay.
But then we've also got a cyclone coming in from the northeast, which might actually strike us because it's hitting one of the islands off the coast as well. So yeah, pretty wacky weather for our summer compared to, normal summers at least. It's normally not this
average.
Crazy. Yeah, it's a little bit above average where we had like pretty much a week's worth of rain straight up, and it was almost cyclonic weather before we even got told that there was a cyclone coming. So
whoa.
Yeah. Pretty wacky.
Yeah, you would expect summer to be hot, but you wouldn't expect it to be that hot.
Up in like Northern Territory and like Alice Springs and South Australia, Western Australia, they get a lot hotter than the East Coast. Like,
okay.
It just depends on how far inland it gets. Like further inland, it gets pretty hot, but it just depends as well on the humidity.
Gotcha. Very nice. Well, thank you for being on.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, we're all pretty much excited to I guess say a lot more about what we've got going on and introducing ourselves and yeah.
All right, we'll go over to Rythaze next. How'd you how'd you get your start in the Halo community and involved with Halo?
Well, it's not as exciting as Sierra or anything like that, but I basically started way too early than I should have. I was very young, and it was like I don't even know if I want to say, but it was like early elementary school probably. And I went to a friend's house, and his dad, my friend's dad's friend, brought his Xbox, and he had Halo CE, and he had another game called Robotech Battle Cry. And so I played the hell out of that when I was there for the few hours I was there. And I remember playing on specific, my brain focuses on this. I played specifically on Assault on the Control Room. And we got in the tank, and I was just like, holy shit, this is amazing. And and from then on, I my dad got me an Xbox, and they wouldn't let me get Halo because it was too violent. So instead, I played Mech Assault.
Okay.
And,
so that's
less. Well, it's just robots, or mechs. Excuse me, fighting mechs. That was another great game, by the way. And Jet Set Radio Future, more great games. But I ended up getting Halo CE and then Halo 2, and it became an inspiration for art. So I started doodling stuff. Halo guns. I'm sure my parents were worried. This kid's drawn a bunch of guns. What's going on here? And I just used to draw a lot of that. And eventually I ended up playing Halo 3 at some point. I'm trying to remember how that happened. I think I went to a friend's house again. They definitely would not let me get an Xbox 360. It's too expensive. So I just continued drawing, and I just eventually got better at drawing, and I got into digital art, and my jump into the Halo community was kind of more so along the lines of I used to do YouTube videos, actually, and things like machinimas. I tried doing animation too, and that sort of dropped me into Twitter. I came to Twitter, and from then on I was like, yeah, screw YouTube, screw video making. I just want to do art. Now I'm trying my best to do concept art and stuff like that, even though it's not exactly my profession. But yeah, I started at an early age.
Well, what you've come up with so far, I don't know if, obviously some of the folks that are in the live stream have seen your stuff, and probably some people that listen, but if you guys haven't checked out his Twitter, then you definitely have some good stuff over there. And I don't know if you have an art station or anything, but
I do.
You've come up with some really good stuff.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And we'll talk a little bit more about the stuff that you've done for Rebirth here in just a minute.
All
right. So that leaves RatDadJoe as the final to tell us how you got involved with Halo.
Well, my story is not so different from Rythaze's in the way that I got into it very early. But for me, it was mostly just my brother got an Xbox. And from there, I got introduced to Halo C. And then I didn't play it a lot when I was a kid. But I did play a lot of... I played the first few chapters, and then I stopped whenever I got to the flood. Because I was so scared of the flood back then that I didn't really want to do anything with it.
Oh, I relate to that. In fact, I didn't mention it, but yeah, I would quit every time. Got to 343 Guilty Spark. Now, it's my favorite level.
I think that's like every kid's rite of passage when they play CE, is it's like you stop at 343 Guilty Spark and the library. I remember just like sitting in front of an old TV just going, oh God, I don't want to do this. I hated it, It was great, but it was just, oh man.
Yeah.
For me, it was like a nightmare fuel. I was just terrified. Couldn't look at it. No, I love it. I love it a lot.
But, I love it as well. Like, the more the time goes on, the more I love it. And it's probably just because of how much goes into it, like the environment art and all that stuff, which kind of leads and segues into what I wanted to say as well, is basically I As I grew, I grew into the community in 2012 a little bit. I stayed out of a lot of it, but I didn't do a lot until 2 or 3 years ago. I started writing, and then I started doing 3D work, and I got a passion for environment art and all that kind of stuff. So nowadays, I'm just focusing on environments, and I do a lot of like VFX kind of stuff with like models and all that. So like a VFX workflow and all that, which helps for Rebirth.
Okay.
Yeah, Joe's got some incredible art too.
Very cool. Station. And do you have a pretty strong background in the VFX stuff, or has that just been more of a hobby that you've tried to kind of get accustomed to?
Well, it's more or less just I have nothing else to do in Venezuela, so I just focus my time on practicing and doing a lot of 3D work. Since, I mean, I used to have a job here, but then I started earning more doing 3D, so I dropped it.
Okay.
Because of the special circumstances that I have in my country, where my monetary system is not worth anything. So, yeah. So I do 3D as my main work, and I do it as my hobby, and I practice it all the time.
Okay. Very nice.
We're all on that grind, trying to get better.
Yeah, it sounds like it. So let's talk now about Project Rebirth, the reason why we have you guys on. So everyone in the chat can chill out now, because we're going to talk about
it now.
Hell yeah. So I caught wind of Project Rebirth when Rythaze, you posted the ODSTs in the water picture on your Twitter.
Those are Spartans, not ODSTs.
Sorry, Spartans. Spartans in the water, and you had...
I mean, cast.
Sorry, I got... we were talking about ODSTs earlier, so I...
No, it's fine. It's fine.
But yeah, Spartans in the water, and kind of like one of the key... I would call it key art for Project Rebirth, but I don't know who would be the right person to take this, but what is Project Rebirth? Because we had to change our announcement of it, or our realization of it, thanks to Sierra's correction of us. Thank you for that, by the way.
You're
as
okay.
a cinematic experience, not a fan project in terms of a fan game. So what is Project Rebirth?
Sierra should answer that one, because he's the creator, pretty much.
Yeah, I'm the guy when it comes to this.
I didn't read the script.
Yeah, Rythaze has a bad habit with that.
So it's okay.
No. Right? It's all right. It's all right. So, Project Rebirth is, to put it as simply as possible, it's a series set during the Battle of Earth in Sydney. Obviously, in the lore for, the Halo series as a whole, there's not really much shown about Sydney. You don't really know much about it. In terms of that as well, all that we know is that it got bombed by the Covenant. And so early on, when I first started the Australian Regiment with the 405th, my executive officer, Danielle, who she goes online as like Where is Danielle or Danielle Debs, okay. Her and I started coalescing together, starting to think about, we've got all these people, we've got a lot of talented armor builders, prop makers. We should do a short film. And I mean, we live in the country. We've been to the city. We pretty much live there. So we were like, let's do something based on Sydney. Let's do, the defense of Sydney. And it kind of just went from this live action idea to we're going to do it, we're going to do it in a short movie. We're going to do it in like little short pieces. We're going to do it in a comic. We were thinking about doing it in a game, and then at a certain point we were like, no, like none of these are just not fitting enough with what we have to actually accomplish. So the decision was made pretty early on to just turn it into either a 6 to 7 part series where we essentially explore a little bit more of the Halo universe that's been shown, a little bit, some maybe different themes and tones that haven't exactly been expanded upon, and a lot more of an interesting take on what the war was like, rather than kind of the idealized kind of rose-tinted glasses version that you see in Halo 2 and 3, where and ODST to an extent, where you don't really grasp the full extent of the fact that Earth, like the final kind of bastion of humanity, is under siege, by the Covenant, and it never really felt like it was such a big deal in the games, and so we just really wanted to tackle that and really bring it back down home, especially for us, like having lived here, and we were just like, we've just got to do it. We've really got to illustrate just how much the series means to us, and how much we love the city, and how much we want to see more done with interesting and original concepts.
Very cool. So it sounds like it's gone through quite a few different iterations or different ways that you possibly wanted to kind of tell this story.
Yeah.
Is there anything in particular, like you said, you've kind of tried different things and it didn't really work. Actually, before I ask my next question, what's kind of the delivery mechanism that you're currently trying to do with Project Rebirth?
So do you mean in terms of like like publishing it online, or kind of
like
putting it out?
What kind of style? So is it kind of like how it's animated, like how the Fall of Reach was animated, kind of like in?
It's 3D animation, like fully 3D animation. It's more or less like Blur Studios doing the cutscenes from Halo 2 Anniversary, but not so much to that scale, because we're a fan project. We want to achieve that scale, but we have to work with what we have. But at the same time, it's like we're aiming for that kind of project.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Like fully 3D realized.
Okay.
Because very early on, like I said before, we had the idea of doing everything in live action, and we'd comp in all the different elements, like the Covenant, the just larger than life, like architecture and all that sort of stuff. And at a certain point, we just realized, like, why would we do it like this when we could do it like this?
Sure.
Why not just build everything from scratch and put it out there in a way that doesn't make things visually jarring? And essentially, especially from having been in the costuming community for quite some time now, and seeing so many different forays by different people into their own fan films and stuff, not just for Halo but Star Wars, and you start to pick up on a particular theme where it's always live action, it's always well made to entry level costumes and props, and they're always firing at bad guys off screen. And that was like the one thing from the start where we were like, we're not going to have that. We're not going to have to deal with that problem where you don't see the enemy. We want to make sure people are actually in the grit with all the different characters. It's not just, it's not something where, you're kind of just watching it. We'd rather people experience it and kind of feel it as they go along, rather than it having to be something that people kind of just sit down and watch for 5 minutes and walk away.
Okay. So as far as kind of taking that next step as far as the delivery mechanism, is this going to be something where it's one major type of production and you kind of put it out there as a film, or is it going to be episodic? Is there going to be seasons depending on how well this goes? What's kind of your episodic?
Yeah, episodic mainly. Originally,
have you seen Astartes?
What's that?
Seen what?
Astartes.
I never even heard that either.
Astartes. I don't remember. I don't know how to pronounce it.
So it's pronounced Astartes, and it's a series of several short features by one guy. It's based on a fictional unit in Warhammer 40k, and it's just like maybe 1 to 2 minutes each.
Okay.
Where they're just it's an incursion into a ship, and they're fighting. I don't know much about 40k, unfortunately, so there's probably people who are going to get mad when they hear this and know that I have no idea what I'm talking about. But they're essentially, you've got the big space marines, boarding this ship, and I guess, trying to find some kind of high value item or persons that they're hunting. And so when we decided to start rendering or kind of go for this episodic approach, we started looking at that a lot more, because when there's already something out there that kind of lays the mold of what people expect, and you look at the other communities and you can see that it's mostly live action stuff, sometimes there's just got to be that leap that goes from, and especially considering like Halo, a majority of Halo's content is machinima based. It's not so much, there's live action films out there that are officially produced and unofficially produced, but there's, as far as my knowledge goes, there is not one single short film or episodic series out there that is 100% rendered from scratch, not using existing assets from any of the games, and is a lot more cinematic in scope compared to other projects that are out there, and
SFM type stuff.
Yeah, and especially like, and this is earlier on when we were talking about the community videos and stuff, or you guys were the machinimas and whatnot. A little while ago, I stumbled across Bacon Media, and Bacon Media, I think, has pushed the real limit of what can be done with machinima, and we want to take what he's done in terms of how far he's pushed, and we want to push it further, just like he has. Because
Bacon is incredible.
Yeah, like his machinima, there's one that he put out very recently called Operators, and I honestly think that's probably one of the best Halo machinimas I've seen in recent years, if not ever, just because of the approach that he took and the amount of work that he put into it, using Forge and just building everything from scratch and actually building a world around what he was doing. It was very important for us to see that there are other people trying to do the same thing that we're doing, but we want to try and push that further, just like they had. So, Bacon Media and a lot of other machinima creators were a big inspiration, but we want to push the boundaries of what they've already done and see what we can do in their stead.
That is a tall order to be sure.
Yeah, it's ambitious, and that's it's a very stressful, ambition as well, because we've already got all these examples from Blur when they've done Halo Wars, Halo 2 Anniversary. So there's an existing quality officially, of what can be expected, and I think when it comes to the unofficial side of things, when there's fans who have done their own sort of stuff, no one's reached that level yet, where people like you kind of sometimes see comments in YouTube videos where people are like, man, this is like Blur level quality, and it's like you see that sort of stuff and you want to go, I want to aspire to get people commenting that sort of stuff,
Yeah.
If you took something like Operators and you turned that into a Blur level production, it would be just like, it would blow your socks off. And that's like what we want to do, is we want to blow the socks off of people, essentially.
That's going to be amazing to see if you guys really pull it off.
Yeah. Well, at the moment, what we're crunching towards getting a teaser trailer ready, potentially by the time that E3 rolls around.
Okay.
Because we really want to try and ride the Halo Infinite hype train. Because, I mean, for one, like, we're excited for Infinite and we want to see it prosper, but at the same time, we also want to ride it just because we know that people are going to be looking for other stuff to look for and digest in the meantime. And we're more than happy to be, the food that they eat while they're waiting for Infinite to come around.
All right. Very nice. So what's the background as far as the story that you're going to be telling for Project Rebirth?
So in terms of the story, as much as I hate to say it, and
sorry, son, it's classified.
That's fine. That's totally fine.
That it's not so much that we don't want to tell people, we do.
Mm-hmm.
However, the problem is that there are some elements of what we want to show that we don't want to put out there until it's actually out there. So the basic gist that I can give, which I think I've also put that on the FAQ on our website, corona-interactive.com, shameless self-plug.
Yeah, certainly.
Is that a number of operators from the Office of Naval Intelligence's Section 3 heading to a recovery station on Luna to reactivate a Spartan 2 fire team. And the reason for this is, at this point in time, the Battle of Earth isn't really drawing to a close. The Chief hasn't shown up yet. The Arc Portal hasn't been opened.
Okay.
And, cities are still burning. Yeah, cities are still burning and people are still hurting. And so, in order to stem the chaos, they have to bring in some people who aren't exactly what you would expect in terms of Spartans. And I know that's probably going to make people feel a little bit uncomfortable, because then they think of machinimas where you've got these edgy Spartans who are like, oh, I hate all this, blah blah blah. But
bring in the Spartan 3s and Alpha Company and Charlie Company.
Yeah. But the Spartans of Gold Team, they're not average Spartans in the sense that they're not who you would expect them to be. They're not. I guess you could say that they're not exactly combat ready. And at the same time, this is once again a crucible that they have to undertake, just as they did when they initially went through the Spartan 2 program. And at the same time, while you've got Gold Team, you've got different military elements. You've got the commander, one of the commanders from Section 3, who, pretty much risking, his head getting cut off for treason, for abandoning the war to go and do this thing for humanity. You've got ODSTs that are and Marines and civilians that are just trying to get by and survive, and then you've also got the Covenant. And a thing that I was going to mention earlier when we were talking about the introduction is when it comes down to Halo games, like Halo 2 pushed the mark when they introduced the Arbiter as a character, because people weren't expecting to play as a member of the Covenant. Right, yeah. And which so I personally enjoyed a lot. Yeah, like it was a refreshing look into, because you when it comes to sci-fi stories, you're so expectant of seeing the good guy's point of view. And so when you flip that table and you go underneath it and you see just what exactly is happening on their end, you start to realize things aren't as perfect and as intimidating as they should be. We want to bring back that level of intimidation for the Covenant, which is why we're going to be trying to show a lot more of just how brutal they can be, and especially considering that this is after the Great Schism. The elites are no longer part of the Covenant. It's just the brutes leading the way. There's going to be bloodshed, and that's a thing that we're wrestling with at the moment. Is Halo has a lot of dark themes, especially in some of the books. You've got stuff like the Mona Lisa, and there was another one from Halo Evolutions that I can't remember the name of. But you've just got all these different stories where, it shows how dark the war is, and then you go back to the games and everything's kind of happy-go-lucky, like everything's fine, there's nothing to worry about. And so
like a hero story. We're lacking that grit. There's one thing I would love to see be retraced, is that brutes should be brutish, and when I mean brutish, I mean scary brutish. Brutal. That's what. Like brutal, actually brutal. Yeah. Just actually frightening.
Animalistic. If you've seen the concepts that Rythaze and Mutt, who's also in the Twitch chat here,
also Gerard. Gerard.
Oh, yeah, and BuzzBuzz especially. Yeah. There's been a lot of deep dives into how we can really bring back the brutes to be more intimidating, and especially conveying that through environment art as well.
That's our focus as of late.
Yeah. Okay. There's just not enough of a feeling of, I guess you could say, concern. You know, and I suppose in terms of that as well, when it comes to expanding upon a story, you know, where everything's already happened, you know, when you looked at something like, for example, Rogue One, how Rogue One takes place just before A New Hope, you know, you're kind of like, this story doesn't really need to be told. You don't need to tell this story. But they did feel a want and a need to tell it. And so when it comes to Rebirth, we have that exact same approach where, you know, there's just something missing from that whole Battle of Earth that hasn't been seen, and we want to fill that gap, whether or not it's officially recognized or not. And that's
kind of like Fistful of Arrows.
Exactly. Like we didn't set out for this to be interpreted as canon or not. We know what the canon is for Sydney, you know, and the Spartans that are involved. At the same time, however, you know, it's entirely up to 343 how they want to take it. And, you know, again, a part of like the game content usage rules as well is they could just do that. And that's totally fine by us. At the end of the day, that's not what we're setting out to do. We're just setting out to tell a story that we want to tell, and we want people to kind of really enjoy and maybe feel a little bit depressed and sad and annoyed and all sorts of different emotions that are just gonna cause a just mental havoc into other people like it has for us while we're working on this thing.
Yeah. Sounds like it's been a while, but it sounds like you guys have a lot of stuff that you're eager to show off, at least, especially if you're going to have a trailer out by E3 timeframe.
Yeah, that decision wasn't taken lightly at all. Like we were debating for the longest time because we were like, should we do a trailer? Should we not do a trailer? Should we just put the episodes out there? And it's like, when it comes down to it, really, we have to put out a display of the technical achievement that we're trying to produce. And in doing that, you know, we have to show people what we're capable of, and we have to walk before we can run. So
yeah,
putting out the trailer is a priority for us, not just so we can test ourselves and put ourselves through the metal, but also to gauge whether or not people are going to be interested in what we're trying to tell or show or have others experience, as it were.
And that'll probably also help you guys gauge what the community's interest is in the work that you're doing.
Exactly. And, you know, at the end of the day, whether or not Rebirth takes off or not doesn't really, well, I mean, it does matter. But if it doesn't take off in the way we want it to, that's okay, because we still want to do other things. You know, when we formed Corona Interactive, we didn't just do it so we could do Rebirth. We did it so we could do a whole bunch of other stuff. You know, Joe has created his own universe for any of the environment concepts and characters that he makes, you know, which I think is equally as interesting as Rebirth. And then we've also got, you know, a whole bunch of other little short ideas where we want to take, you know, anything we can get that we can translate into a visual form that makes things easier to comprehend and understand, and maybe make a bit more interesting. Sure,
yeah. And that kind of leads me into my next question. What's kind of the inspiration from either, like, I guess, from Halo specifically? Like, is there a specific art style from a game or story from Halo that's inspiring you? And also, is there any external to Halo inspirations that you're getting? Like, you mentioned Rogue One and the other, like, animation style Astara or something like that. Astartes,
yeah.
Astartes. As for art style,
Halo CE.
Well, I mean, that's a big one, but we're trying to take the best elements out of everything. Any Halo media that there's been. We're not trying to focus on one art style. It's supposed to be an amalgamation and combining things in a way that makes it cohesive. And Sierra says this a lot, and make things non-jarring. And I agree with that sentiment. We can't just focus on one single title, otherwise, people will just be like, "Oh, it's just the Halo 2 helmet," or "Oh, that's the Halo CE rocket launcher," that kind of thing. We want to have a broad design that you can say, "Oh, it's just," you get what I mean.
Yeah. I just know for some of the other projects, and again, most of the other projects that we've talked to are game specific or mods, but there's usually a specific art style or a few different art styles, whether you want to call it classic Halo or the Bungie style era Halo or the Halo 1, Halo 2. Yeah, the whole classic debate. I just didn't know if there's any particular kind of art styles within Halo that influenced how you guys are coming up with the models, or Rythaze, how you're doing some of the concept art, or any of that kind of stuff.
Well, I guess it could come down to a personal thing. I mean, me personally, CE and Halo 2 are massive inspirations, but that could change for other artists and like other concept artists we have, or other modelers. And Sierra has his own ideas too. Joe too. Everybody has their own ideas.
The good thing is, we try to combine everything. We're very much a cohesive team where it's not like everyone's throwing darts at a board and seeing what sticks. It's like we're all coming together and we're going, well, what do we like from this? Okay, let's take this, let's take that, let's put that together. We're not interested in that. Let's get rid of that. Let's put this one in. And especially I know for Rythaze and BuzzBuzz as well, they were inspired by a lot of in terms of the Spartan designs as well. It came down to a lot of the stuff that Marcus Leto had done.
Don't forget Eddie Smith. You cannot
Eddie
forget
Smith. Eddie Smith as well. Eddie Smith, Isaac Hannaford, Craig Mullins. I think there was one more, but I
was going to say Shikai Wang.
Yeah,
he was more Covenant focused.
I think his designs have kind of blended into what we're doing with the Covenant though, which is good. When it does come down to it though, like we're not setting out to be like, oh, classic art style is superior or 343 art style is superior. It's just like these Marines have a certain kit and each of them are an individual and they're all going to be running kit that they prefer or that they've been issued with. And whether or not that resembles a Reach Marine, a Combat Evolved Marine, a Halo 2 Marine, Halo 4 Marine, it doesn't really particularly matter. What matters is that they're all individuals, that are going to be conveyed on screen and they have their own look, their own personality, their own feel.
Okay. And I know you have quite a few different artists on there, or working to help give you kind of concept art for it. How does that translate over to the VFX process? So I guess since Rythaze and Joe, since you're here, how's what Rythaze comes up with? How do you translate that to some of the stuff that you do with the 3D animation? Or is there a separate modeler out there and then you animate the models that you get?
It depends on what we're doing, because I cannot really say a lot for character modeling because I'm not really a character modeler. I'm an environment artist. But I have done one character recently, but that's besides the point. What mostly matters is just having a readable concept art in terms of it has to be clean. It has to be you have to look at it and you have to understand where the details are going and where you're going to give detail, where you're going to do certain things. It all that comes down to is that you have to have a readable concept art for you to create in 3D. And that's pretty much most of it.
Okay. Is that as far as having the clear concepts of you want this certain space or you need this environment to look this certain way or convey this certain feeling? How does that translate from the art that he does?
For that, it comes a lot in lighting, because if you want to convey feeling, you have to convey you have to create a pretty good lighting setup. For example, if Rythaze creates a really moody environment, which would probably not be the case because most of the time concept arts are done in a very synthetic way, not synthetic, sterile way, which
Okay.
you have like a very clean, well, not clean, more like a very clear image, and then you go into it, you start building it in 3D, you start giving detail, and after that, you start giving it a light pass, which is what creates the mood of the environment.
Okay.
There's also texturing work, which comes into the surfacing, which also helps to add the whole mood of the scene. Like maybe there's blood on the walls, maybe there's gunshots or anything.
Okay. It helps with just kind of conveying what you want. Like, as long as he has a good, clean presentation, you can pretty much pick that up and know how to treat it as far as creating the environment for it or animating certain elements within it.
I want to add one thing. Like, I think there's also some room for change once you get into the 3D process. You obviously don't have to follow the art to a T.
Sure.
Certain things can and can't be done, of course. And so there's a bit of freedom in that way. So, like, I guess in terms of environment, Joe has some freedom. Like, he doesn't have to make a photocopy of what the concept artists do.
Gotcha.
Being readable is important, but that being said, not everything needs to be translated. That was my point.
I think that's the great thing as well, is that because everyone has individual concepts and stuff that they want to do and bring across to the 3D realm, there's a lot more personality injected every single time something makes it through that process. So the individual artist injects their personality, at the start when they do the piece. Then when it translates over to 3D, that 3D artist injects their personality into the piece alongside the other person. Then when it gets to the compositing, the texture, like every single person injects themselves into what they're making. And I think that's what makes it so, I guess, great or passionate or fantastic, because it's not just everyone's kind of looking at something and going, I'm going to make this. And then everything's one-to-one to a T, everyone injects their own personality into the stuff that they're working on. And I think that's like one of the favorite parts about the project thus far, is that when we've got this many artists, 3D and 2D, working together to bring something to life, it's like you can see it meshing together in such a way where you can kind of see something being born, and it's exciting, It kind of makes you a bit hopeful.
Yeah. And I guess to take that another step further too, with your team being so globally diverse, I guess you get some other inspirations culturally as well from the different regions that all of your team is sourced from.
Of course. Definitely. We have some really, like, we're very culturally diverse, and I think that's what makes things so great. We have some, like, I wish you guys could see everything, but there's some incredible art being done. Like, it's actually, I'm always mind blown whenever somebody uploads something. I just look in there and I just can't. Oh my God. Some of the concept artists, amazing. And culture plays a role.
A lot of people in the chat are saying Mutt's amazing or insane.
Mutt is amazing.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Mutt is fantastic. Are you kidding me right now? This guy's a fantastic concept artist. Definitely check his Twitter.
We got very excited when Mutt came on. Mutt's a very recent addition, and like, because he was talking to Rythaze and being like, I don't know if they'll want me because they've already got you, and it's like, no, you're fantastic. Like, please come on, like you need to come with us, please.
Of course, we have people like BuzzBoz or Gerard. He goes by BuzzBoz on Twitter, and his art is, just equally as fantastic. He does some incredible Spartan and character art. He did a brute one time that he posted on Twitter. I'd link it if I had the link to it. But it was, I would just find the link. But he posted it one time and I was just shocked. And of course we have other artists like S. Venom Mo, and his character designs are absolutely incredible. Everything is great. It's just so cool to work with other artists that are just amazing, Sometimes I sit back and think like, wow. This is just, it's almost a blessing. I don't want to be like too freaked out about it, but it's just crazy. Like, these people are amazing. Look at Hayden says coughing brute, but yeah, check out this link. for that one. That one was, I remember seeing that and I was just like, whoa.
Phoenix, we have a developer spotlight with him coming up on our website where we're actually going to be showing not just his portfolio, but what he's working on right now. And what he's working on right now is the marine design for the project. And I honestly think it's probably one of the best marine designs I've seen for Halo. And like obviously it's one of those things where you pick and choose different parts and you put them together. But his is like, I don't know. It's like seeing something for the first time when it's already made out of so many different things, and it's just, you just kind of fall in love with it. And seeing the process that they go through to create this stuff is like, it's almost unimaginable. You know, like they're like artists of old, essentially taking like a big block of clay and forming it into like the statue of David. Like it's crazy. You know, like it's just awesome.
For real.
That just sounds mind blowing. Just have to see it. But yeah, you also linked in here, Sierra, the art spotlight that you did. I was actually going to mention that and show it if we had time, but we're starting to get a little late, so I'll refrain from showing that this time. We might show it next time. But there's a lot of other artists that you have on the spotlight as well. Showcasing off some of the different ideas and concepts that you guys are trying to go with.
Yeah, like
how's it working with an internationally based team? And I mean, like all of you guys, none of you guys are in the States right now, and the closest person we have is Rythaze up north from where we are. But
the Great White North, yes. It's a bit of a struggle actually to communicate because of the time zones. We try to have meetings and things like that, and some people are in Australia and it's bedtime for Bonzo, and some people are, off in Venezuela. Well, I mean, Venezuela's time zone isn't too different, but, or like even in Spain and different parts of, just all over the place. Everybody's busy. Everybody's in different time zones. So it's difficult to, organize, but it works out anyways somehow. I don't know how we're doing it, but it's working.
Like somehow it's just like the time barrier just is transcended, and then we just end up, like there've been some days where recently we had a voice call where it went the entire day, and we had people coming in, like we had Mutt coming in from Spain, we had Talon coming in from the US, and then we had Rythaze coming from Canada, and like just like different people from different places coming into this one call. And like, I think that's like the best part is that we're all coming together to show this one thing, and it's absolutely frightening as hell, but it's exciting too. I keep saying that, like,
office, kinda,
it felt like we're just like kind of all gathered around a desk, just going, okay, what about this? Let's look at that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
A big town hall type meeting.
Yeah.
So, how long has the project been in development? If you're close to trying to get a trailer out, I'm guessing you guys have probably brainstormed the story a little bit already, and you probably come up with a lot of environments and some other art and concept to actually put into some kind of video format. So that's probably taken some time at this point.
It's I think from the time that I started the Australian Regiment back in 2014, I think the idea of Rebirth started floating around about 2015. And it wasn't until about 2017 to 2018 where I met Rythaze, I met Joe, I met a couple of the other artists, and we started to kind of form that primordial soup. And then, 2018 to 2019 to 2020 now is where things really started wrapping up. And just getting a lot more, faster, more intense, and crazy. The story is pretty much complete. There's nothing to change about it now except for me finishing up actually writing the scripts. So, everything's written out. There's like kind of a Bible for it, but we also consult with a lot of the people from the community as well. So we do consult with CIA 391, who, as you know, like he's one of the main guys on Halopedia.
Yep.
We've got Hidden Xperia, who's also a consultant. And as well as that, we've also got a lot of other people that, act as consultants in other ways. So in terms of consulting for the aspects of the military for it. So the UNSC and all that sort of stuff, to a very minor extent. Obviously because probably 90% of all the character animations are going to be mocapped. So when it comes down to it, we want to make sure that these people feel believable, they feel real, and they're moving in ways that I think people are going to understand and actually kind of go, oh, these aren't just people in suits kind of jumping around and punching brutes in the face and stabbing grunts.
Not game
like
animation, but actual.
Yeah, like we want to make the characters feel real and actual people. So in order to do that, we have to get real and actual people to be a part of that process.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I'm guessing with your background in the 405th, you probably have access to, like you mentioned, wanting to make sure that a lot of the UNSC type of like dress is accurate. So I'm with the access to the 405th, you probably have a little bit of insight there as well, as far as like what would be quote unquote the proper look within universe.
Yeah, well, when it comes to that sort of stuff, we have our own kind of, with the 405th at least, we have kind of a database of different stuff. But at the same time, when you're making something that's kind of expanding upon something that's not really known, you have to take liberties. And so with the Spartan armors especially, they're not too dissimilar from what's already been seen, but they are completely different and that they haven't been seen before. And you can see a prototype of what we were using for some early concepts on the website too. But when it comes to costume design and all that sort of stuff, SAJ Concepts, who's one of our concept guys, he's also a member of my regiment.
Oh yeah.
And he's not just a spectacular environment artist, but he's superb at creating costume. Like he builds a lot of fabric costumes. He's made Captain Cutter's uniform. He's made the Nightfall uniforms, like the ones that Agent Locke and stuff wear.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's extremely talented, and that's like the number one thing with all of this is just making sure that we're trying to maintain a visual consistency to the universe, but we're also trying to put our own stamp on it in a way that makes it visually unique and stands out, just in the same way that Infinite is, where you've got the Chief who's got like, the Mark 6 and the Mark 4 and the Forward Unto Dawn armor in his design, and it's just all about like taking what exists and just really going nutty with it.
Very cool. That should be very interesting to see, and like what specific inspirations come out of like the different aspects of the games and like some of the other kind of fine minutia stuff that you like see from like people making their custom builds and whatnot.
Yeah, like there's a lot of talented people in the 405th, and I think one of the better things of the project was starting it from scratch back in the day when it was live action, is realizing that some things can't be done in live action. Some things have to be just taken in a way that are a lot more, I'm not sure what the wording would be, but kind of just bringing it back down to a level where they're not just Spartans in that are like 6 foot tall in a suit. It's like you want to believe that these are actual 7'6", athletically built super soldiers that can like rip off a grunt's head with like no effort. So
right,
yeah, that was a major thing as well. That's like one of the main reasons why we decided against doing any live action, is just because we want to make sure we convey the characters in the best way possible, and it just wouldn't be possible in live action. As good as like individual costumers are in the community, some costumes will never reach the same level as legacy effects and Weta, and that's really the main reason why we decided to do this digitally.
Okay, yeah, you guys got a lot ahead of you to I guess kind of finish it up. It sounds like you got quite a bit done. But as far as like you mentioned finishing up the scripts, does that mean like you still need to kind of do the hand animation, or I guess the mocap, like you mentioned before, to match up with the script after you get voice actors and everything? And is that kind of like the last thing
That's the
last big thing that you need to get done?
That's like the last big thing during the actual production of the episodes. For the trailer, not necessarily.
Sure.
Most of the stuff is going to be hand animated, just because it's mostly just going to be kind of a proof of concept. We don't want to break our backs trying to do something that isn't necessarily what we should be doing. But in terms of the scripts for right now, in terms of the story, yeah, they're pretty much almost done. And the story as well. The story's done. It's just more so making sure that everything is transplanted correctly from brain to page. So, you know, and like as you guys would know, and like a lot of the other content creators as well, it's like when you write a script for stuff, it's so hard to make sure that you accurately translate what it is that's in your head to what you're writing down, and that's like the biggest struggle. So,
especially if you're trying to convey specific emotion or certain like vocal inflection, that kind of stuff.
And it's different from writing something like like a writing prompt where you're kind of just writing the character's thoughts and actions and stuff on a page. It's like you've actually got to take into account visually in your head, where's the camera going to be, what's the shot going to be like, what's happening in the background, what's happening in the foreground, all that sort of stuff that's just so hard to visualize. And that's why, it's one of those things. Again, it's ambitious because it pushes people to their limits. So
it sounds like a huge project.
Yeah.
How many people are on the team?
I think we got about 35 or so people now.
Okay. It's not huge.
Not huge, but not small. If it was just me and Rythaze and Joe, we wouldn't get anywhere. But it's like we've got so many talented people on the team where it's like the more people that join and the more people that display their passion for it, the more I'm like, man, this is going to get done. And that's horrifying. Like it's such a scary thought to see something that's so intense and ambitious to actually kind of start getting somewhere. Like it's mind-boggling every single time I wake up in the morning, and we've got our own internal development server on Discord, and every single morning I wake up and it's just there's always notifications on there, and I'm like, man, this is actually getting somewhere. Can't shut it down now. Like, God.
Once it's all active and everything, then you're pretty much committing yourself to, well, if people are this invested in it, let's make sure we get it done.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Very nice. As we're kind of wrapping things up, are there still positions that you need help with? Or filled?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
all the time. Yeah. There's so many positions that are still open, and the number one most the thing that I struggle with the most, and when looking over a lot of the applications we get with Rythaze and Joe, is it's like we have to be looking for people that it's difficult to bring on people when they don't have a portfolio, or if the portfolio they show has a lot of stuff in it, but then it's like, it's not the stuff we're looking for, and it's so difficult to be picky, because it's like we want to make sure that we're bringing on people so we can work on it, but we don't want to bring on the wrong people, because when it comes to actual development of the project, the last thing we want to do is bring people on and then not have anyone do anything, because that's how most projects die. Yeah, like Talon in the Twitch chat just mentioned, like his portfolio had Emil's helmet in it, and he did that from scratch, and that's when we were like, well, and there's like all sorts of stuff all over his portfolio that was also like really good, but we saw that, we're like, well, here he is, bring him in, and then we just kind of just drag him in there. But that's like the number one problem that we have, is getting more numbers, but the numbers that we need are people that that we feel like we can trust and have a keen eye for birthing things, like actually bringing stuff to life, and there's kind of a very much a disconnect between taking assets that are already there and rendering them compared to building a model of a building or a Spartan or a weapon from scratch. Like it's such a disconnect, and that's the thing we struggle with so much with our applications. So, but like we're always looking. I think on the website, we're not going to take it down. I think there's a little thing essentially saying we are recruiting in very big letters, and I don't think that's going away anytime soon. So,
okay,
yeah, if anyone's interested at all, like just look over the positions we've got open, and just, I guess, keep an open mind, because at the end of the day, like, we do get a lot of people that apply, and we have to look over them and make critical decisions on that. But what's important is that we don't want to let down the vision that we already have in place, and as well as that, we don't want to let down the people who already believe in that.
Right. Well, it sounds like you guys are well on your way to getting something really cool out to the community, and I'm really excited to see it. Machinima has always been one of those niches within the Halo community that I'm very fond of, even though it's a little, you could call it loosely Machinima. It's not necessarily like video game, but you're still doing the animation and all that kind of stuff. So I'm very curious to see what you guys do, and I'm going to be keeping a close eye on what you guys are working on, and really, really cool to see what comes out at E3 if you get the trailer out by then, and maybe by that time you'll have more time to or be more open to sharing stuff, and maybe we can have you guys on again. But it's been really cool to learn about the project, and I think this is kind of like you kind of mentioned earlier, I don't think we've really ever seen just a fully animated series like what you're doing within the Halo franchise, let alone the Halo community.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be the best of times. It's going to be the worst of times. But I think what's going to come out of it is going to be something that I think, or that I hopefully believe that everyone is going to really like, and that the artists and everyone else who work on it, that they get somewhere from this, that it's not just something they do for fun, that it's an actual stepping stone for them to jump into something that lifts them off somewhere else, whether that's to 343 or to any other developers, or like Blow or anything like it'd just be cool to see, where this leads, and hopefully it leads in a direction that gets us somewhere.
Very nice. So where can people find the project, either website or socials? And then you guys want to share your own personal socials, art stations, whatever?
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. Rythaze loves sharing, yeah.
I was saying that earlier. Spam my links everywhere. Yeah, check out my Twitter. It's at Rythaze.
Well, I mean, you can go to our website. So the website's corona-interactive.com. We've got a blog up. We've got a gallery of some of our assets, whether that's concept art or some of the early prototyping stuff for 3D models and scenes. We've got a list up of all the people on our team where you can actually find links to their art station and their social media. So some of the people that maybe we didn't mention today, you'll be able to find them. And other than that, I think, we've got our Twitter, which is where we mostly operate from, which is Corona_Eternal. We haven't got a Facebook yet. We have got an Instagram that I think is Corona_Interactive. And then there's our YouTube. But, I mean, we haven't uploaded anything yet. So there's not really much of an attraction there just yet. Hopefully soon.
Sounds good. RatDadJoe, do you have any socials you wanted to share?
Well, my art station is just my username, and my Twitter is also RatDadJoe. So,
okay.
I would recommend following my RatDadRenders account more than my own account, because my own account is a mess of memes.
Okay. Halo memes or just memes in general?
Just memes. Everything.
Just memes. Okay. All right. Sounds
good. Here's his Twitter.
GT, before we start putting the close on this, did you have any questions?
No, Dust, you did a pretty good job of covering all the questions.
Okay. Always want to give you...
You asked all the ones I came up with.
Always want to give you the final word, just in case. All right. Well, thank you all for being on, especially given the crazy time difference for you, Sierra.
I mean, it's fine. I'm more worried about Joe and Rythaze because it's pretty late for them. For me, it's like the sun's still up, the birds are still singing, and
sure,
yeah. So it's
the wind's howling for me, and it's dark.
Sleep? What's sleep? You need sleep.
Not me.
All right. Well, we got a couple.
Thanks for having us. By the way,
yeah, thank you for being on. It was a really it was a real pleasure having you guys on and talking about the project and helping clarify that it wasn't a fan game or a mod like we originally assumed it was. So
I think it's only fair, but yeah.
Well, I think the big thing is like most of the community projects these days, when it comes to a project, is either a mod or a game. So the fact that there is a project that's I guess that didn't come up under the my normal machinima channels is like, oh, wait a second, there's this project out here. So my natural inclination is, oh, it's a game or a mod.
Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah, I'm curious to see what's coming out, and hopefully we can have you on at some point in the future, either after the trailer or when the episodes start coming out, when you're able to more freely talk about what the story is, some of the finer details about the dev process and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, of course. And like I can't say again, like, and when we had the interview with Team Respawn, I said it there as well, but like I can't thank you guys enough for having us on and kind of putting us out there and just helping out in like the best way possible, because honestly the only real way to ever get anywhere is to put word of mouth out, and just put everything out there. And I just can't thank you guys enough for having us on.
Thank you for taking the time to be on.
Absolutely.
It's been a real treat.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Some final announcements before we wrap things up. I want to give a huge shout out to Gamertag Radio. They have reached their 1000th episode. That will be released on Sunday, I think, if it's not already out now. But for their 1000th episode, they had Phil Spencer on, head of Xbox, and they have been in the business for almost 15 years. Podtacular started very soon after Gamertag Radio, and we were a part of the same podcasting network, which was Gamercast Network back in the day. So we just want to give a notable shout out to them for the accolade that they've achieved at reaching 1,000 episodes. They're the first gaming podcast to achieve such a milestone. So we're just very happy of their achievement and looking forward to what they continue to do in the future. You can also check out the Halo Hub. It is a Discord for content creators and people who love content in general. I don't know if any of you guys are on there, but it's run by one of our former staff members here. And it's just a place for any kind of Halo content to be shared, whether you are the content creator or whether you are just a fan of content created within the community and just want to share it with other people. So go check that out as well. We're going to postpone a couple of the topics that we were playing today. We were going to talk about the most recently revealed Halo 5 concept art, which would have been interesting to hear your guys' take on it. But we're going to push that to next week, along with the dual wielding conversation we were going to have, along with our book topic that we're going to be talking about next week, which is going to be Shadow of Intent by Joe Staten. So it's a little short book in lieu of me improperly having the Retribution book schedule when we actually already did a couple podcasts ago. But so that's going to be all next week. We're also looking to introduce a new segment. So since we are the unofficial Halo Universe podcast and we haven't really talked about Universe as far as Halo goes, we're considering adding a new segment that talks about stuff within the universe. So take some of the universe articles that are on Waypoint, kind of that style of stuff, where we'll pick an aspect of the universe. So whether it's something like the Insurrectionists or ODSTs or Sangolic culture or clans and that kind of stuff, that's something that we want to start exploring and looking into. So for any of our listeners out there, if you have any ideas that you'd like us to kind of kickstart this off with, then please reach out to us either on social media or Discord and let us know what you think would be some good starting topics for this kind of a segment. And then I think I've made this announcement as far as we were considering it. And I think we're going to pull the trigger on actually doing a Patreon for the podcast. And I think I'm going to try to get that set up this week. So we have some tiers. I've run it by the staff and I've run it by a few other people within the community. And I think we have a good tier set that won't be too much of a burden on GT and me to actually do and deliver on. So I think we're going to try to get that set up this week. And then upcoming podcasts. Next week, another little thing that we're going to try to do, since this has been the community norm. Have you guys seen the whole vote for your favorite Halo game, weapon, vehicle, and like everyone else has been doing like the different kinds of foods on Twitter and that kind of stuff?
I haven't.
Yeah, this is the first I've heard of it.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just me. GTA, is this ringing the bell at all?
Wait, what is this?
You assume I've been looking at Twitter.
What is it again? They're doing what? They're asking what your favorite like MOA burger is? Like what's your favorite Halo food?
It's like a
themed onion rings.
Pick something out of a list. So like they'll have like best burger and best fries, and they'll list several different chains for burgers and several different chains for fries, and you basically like pick which one's your favorite.
Oh man, I really interpreted that incorrectly. No, I haven't seen that. Oh yeah, I have. You're talking about the thing where it's like A for McDonald's,
yes.
B or
yes.
G. Yeah. Oh yeah, I seen that.
Yeah. Okay.
I just heard Halo and then hamburger, and I was like, oh yeah, Halo hamburger. that's I love that.
Yeah. So we're gonna do that for next week. So we're gonna put out a tweet over the weekend that'll be along the lines of something very similar to that. And I think in addition to that, we're going to do some of the tier listing stuff. So like we'll pull in all the weapons and vehicles from Halo 5 and do a tier rank. We might not do that next week, but we're going to at least try to do that kind of like a number and symbol thing that's been on social media since that's been the latest craze, and see what our community comes up with as far as like favorite Halo vehicle, weapon, character, all that kind of stuff.
Well, Master Chief, of course.
Master Chief, CE Magnum, Warthog. There you go.
Yeah. So that'll be next week. The following week, we will have the folks on from the Finish the Fight podcast. That'll be February 27th. And then the next week, we will be off because I will be out of town. And then on March 12th, we're going to have the folks on from Project Autumn, which that is a fan game. And cool. I know that's a fan game. It's not a fan production of the video sort.
And just as a reminder, this weekend this week for the people that are here in the stream, we will not be having Fraggin' Friday because it is Valentine's Day here in the United States. And I enjoy sleeping in my bed. So
yes.
But we will be back to our normal schedule on the 21st. So send me those customs, and I look forward to seeing everybody then.
Yep. And you can check us out also on Sunday. I'm going to be still doing the achievement stream then, or at least I think I am. Depends on how late game night with friends goes. But we should still be doing the stream on Sunday for the achievements. And then that's going to be at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Podcast, if you are listening to this download, we do it live every Thursday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And then we won't be doing it this Friday, but next Friday we'll be resuming. And Fraggin' Friday starts at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. You can also follow us on our social medias. We're on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Our live streaming platforms are Twitch, Mixer, and YouTube. GT is, I think, almost ready to start releasing some videos.
Working on
Getting there. Stay tuned. And then you can join us on our Discord. head on over there and join the community discussion. And I think that pretty much covers everything.
Provided I can get my computer to hold together long enough to render one.
I still got to ask you what exactly happened, because I don't know if I ever got the synopsis on what piece caused the blue screen.
That's the problem. I don't know.
Oh, okay. All right.
That's the issue.
All right, fair enough.
I have a computer that's old, and it's probably just time to start over.
Gotcha. I mean, sometimes that just happens. So, again, thank you to Sierra, Rythaze, and RatDadJoe for being on the show. We are very much looking forward to what is going to be coming out from you guys as far as some more artwork, teases, or trailers, or whatever, and then maybe this year or sometime next year the actual show comes out.
We're gonna try and aim for either at
Sometime
the end of the
in the
year
future.
you'll see either at the end of the year you'll see something, or
Okay.
sometime after.
Sounds good. All right. Well, thanks to everyone for tuning in. For those on the live stream, thank you for downloading us. If you've downloaded us on the podcast feed, if you don't know, we are on pretty much every single podcast platform. So iTunes, Google, Amazon, TuneIn, Spotify, all that kind of stuff. So there is always a place for you to find us and listen to us. With that said, thanks everyone again for tuning in. We'll catch you all next week. Until then, keep on fragging them trucks.